Ladies and gentlemen, graduates of the University of Dublin, my name is Kevin Cunningham. I completed a PhD in political science in this great university, and for the past 5 years I worked in Westminster for the British Labour Party. However, you don't need this experience at all to know that the Seanad needs change. It's not enough to regard the Seanad as a platform for raising issues. Frankly, in its current form, it doesn't quite have that mandate to pursue legislation. It's elected, remember, by just less than 5% of the adult population, and as a consequence, no one really cares about it. Certainly, the Dáil wanted to abolish it, and frankly, was inevitably railroads legislation passed it at every opportunity. However, as a nation, we face no shortage of major challenges. We need to figure out how to protect ourselves from instability in the global financial markets. We need to figure out how to tackle climate change properly. We need to figure out how to create a healthcare system that provides both universal healthcare and high-quality healthcare. We can do all these things, but we cannot really hope to have any success in doing so if we continue to fumble from one crisis to the next. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not enough for the Seanad just to be reformed, but it's the fact that Ireland needs a reformed Seanad. While TDs understand the needs of their constituents, they cannot also be expected to possess expertise in all issues from global finance to the possibilities of modern medicine. The Constitution thus rightly envisages that members of the Seanad play a supporting role in the Oireachtas. However, in this task, it's clearly failing. Members of the Senate, most senators are elected from sitting TDs, outgoing senators and councillors. I'm talking about the 43 to the panels. Consequently, they are dominated again by former TDs and those that want to be a TD. Many senators, therefore, have their eye on the Dáil and use their position only as a personal profile run for the Dáil. This only intensifies the extent to which the Dáil continues to railroad legislation past the Seanad and renders the Seanad as being entirely ineffective in its ability to do its job. It's ineffective in its ability to scrutinise secondary legislation and EU proposals, but also primary legislation. It's not even allowed to look at money bills. The 2008 blanket bank guarantee was a genuinely compass decision for the government, and it's a perfect example of where the Seanad really needed to be there. Not only was it a result of a financial regulator with insufficient oversight, but the decision itself was made in the entire absence of adequate expertise. It was made on the basis of the somewhat less independent advice of investment banks Merrill Lynch and also the European Central Bank, neither of whom were able to offer genuine expertise from the perspective of Irish interests. We now have this opportunity to reform the Seanad. Two and a half years ago, it was almost abolished. It was retained by a minimal margin of just 52% to 48%. And in 5 opinion polls, only 7% of the electorate wanted to see the Seanad remained as is. So its proverbial stay of execution is owed purely to this promise of reform. So the government, whatever it may be, will not hold a majority in the Seanad. Consequently, members of the Seanad can play a reform in reforming the Seanad into something more useful. However, their success in doing so, and the necessity, of course, in doing so, relies entirely on the extent to which they wish to see real reform or wish alternatively to raise their own personal profiles. I ask you to vote for reform in this election. Thanks.